Are you ready?
Agility from the champion. Oh, deep six! That could be it. Delivers this deep six.
This is episode 123, and we are back. Brandon. I am joined by Brendan, aka Bash, tonight. Good evening. Welcome back.
Wayne, it's glad to be back, man. It's been too long. I think we took all the summer off, and now we're already a month into fall. So glad to be back.
We are rolling, and you know what? We're just coming off of a pretty good Raw show, which we'll start talking about in a minute. But we have WWE Saturday night's main event this Saturday. Tensions are rising. A lot of good things that could be happening, which we'll discuss in a short bit. And then we're headed into Survivor Series. Not long after that, you know, we're on to Royal Rumble season and Mania season, so we're getting into the exciting stretch of the year.
I'm just looking now. Usually it's that last week of January, so November, December, January, looking 3 months away from Royal Rumble. So like you said, we already had a Battle Royal last week, you know, to set everything up for this weekend. So good to see a nice little Battle Royal getting in there, but definitely, like you said, we're in the swing of things, getting into it.
Yes, it's going to be a good stretch. I am very excited. It's good to be back, and we had a pretty good Monday Night Raw show tonight. I must say, let me tell you, we've been blessed with some bangers the past 2 or 3 weeks or so on WWE programming. Can't forget about not only what we just saw tonight, but Ilya Dragunov on the last 2 Fridays in a row, really, with absolute bangers. In my opinion, the match of the year and one of the best SmackDown matches of all time took place 2 weeks ago. Sami Zayn versus Ilya Dragunov, and what was a very, very good match with Ilya Dragunov winning his U.S. title, and he plans on upholding the tradition of the United States Championship by continuing with these open U.S. Championship matches. So that's a very exciting time. He's back just days prior to his appearance on SmackDown 2 weeks ago. I told the guys that I'm sure Ilya Dragunov is going to be back very soon. And sure enough, he came back 4 days later with the surprise appearance to challenge Sami Zayn and win the title. So that was really good. We've been blessed with some bangers these past couple weeks, I must say.
I love when guys hurt too. I love when guys hurt their legs. So obviously all they can really do is work out their arms and upper body. So they come back freaking 15, 20 pounds of muscle added on. He looks scary. Shaved the goatee, got the tattoo. That guy looks like he can, if he can stay healthy, he can really do some serious damage on Friday Night SmackDown.
Yes, I mean he is going to be he's going to be the fixture of WWE programming on Friday nights if he keeps up with these bangers that he's been having, because he's truly been exciting to watch, especially these past 2 weeks since coming back. So, and you know, we had a great tag team title match we want to talk about in just a few minutes. We had some great singles matches, but now we're going to start at the top of the show of Monday Night Raw. We are in the build on the way to WWE Saturday night's main events. There really hasn't been a whole lot of. There really hasn't been too much of like major noteworthy stuff that really happened over the summer. You know, we had Cody win the title, but there wasn't really anything where, since between now and the last time we spoke, where there really hasn't been anything big that's really happened, except for like a slow burn with, you know, Jay Uso and Jimmy Uso, tensions rising there. And then really pretty much every week was kind of like LA Knight bickering with Punk, and Punk bickering with Jey Uso bickering with LA Knight. All of them all just bickering, trying to, get their title shots in, and then wanting to get their hands on the Vision and what have you. And that's really all like the summer was kind of for the most part, especially with Raw programming. It was just all the bickering, and for a while it seemed like Raw was kind of getting a little stale.
Mm-hmm.
Coincidentally, at the same time, WWE allegedly brought in new writers for Raw and SmackDown, in addition to what they already have. So nobody got released, as far as I know. I could be wrong, and at the same time that happened, WWE kind of hit the soft reset button a little bit as far as the Raw storyline goes, because as we know, Seth Rollins got hurt and they had to call an audible. He got hurt during the Crown Jewel match against Cody Rhodes, but the storyline is that the next night Seth Rollins came out on Raw and the Vision turned on Seth Rollins and then putting him out of action. So that was WWE's way to not only write off Seth Rollins, but to kind of go in a different direction. WWE was what you see happening right now with Seth Rollins and the Vision was what they were going to do probably the night after Mania. I think they were going to kind of build Bronson and Braun Breaker more so. But it seems like with Seth Rollins out, they figured let's do the turn now, and then we'll just kind of land where we thought we were going to land anyway within 6 to 12 months. So it's basically they're on track to stay on the same plan. They're going to get to Seth versus Braun Breaker. That was the plan all along, but they had to do the turn sooner to kind of cover up the whole injury thing. So that's why they wanted this angle sooner than later. And you know what? It kind of gave us like a shock factor, so to speak,
right,
during that Raw. And I honestly, it kind of freshened things up a little bit. And while our podcast was absent for a few months for one reason or another, Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker have been developing and getting strong and getting over the whole entire summer. So that being said, this is where we are. This is where we are. There hasn't really been a lot missed, on the Raw side, and the SmackDown side. Cody beating Cena, and and then having his title defenses here and there and stuff. So nothing too significant going on there. Cody will be fighting Drew McIntyre this Saturday night. And I would expect Cody Rhodes to retain there. They're trying to heat up a feud with Cody and Drew, so we'll see where that lands.
I think that there's, like you said, a lot of changes that either needed to be made, might be made, moving towards the, as we call it, the hot season, moving towards that time where you have big events coming up. I think they kept people just entertained enough to make sure that not too many of them ran off. So, like you said, I think injury bugs are going to really either hinder whatever type of growth that could have happened, or they're going to have to get some other players involved. So you lose Seth, you're able to get, like you said, Dragon Ball back. You saw those little, I don't know if you saw them posted Sunday morning, but there was those videos and those clips with the dress shoes walking in. Who knows who that could be? Most people saying Gunther. I absolutely understand it. I see it. He's been gone for a while. If you start working towards your AEW and get back some old players that might be cheap, might be able to pay them well. There's things that need to start happening to keep people engaged. It's not just going to be good matches on Raw that people are going to be like, oh, we have to go watch the matches. No, you need name value. You need good storylines. You need a lot of things to build towards that important time of the year between January to April. So I'm hoping that they do a couple more things to keep the people engaged, but I think they did just enough to make sure not too many people ran off.
Yes, and the thing with Triple H is you ever notice that he doesn't like to give too much away?
Yeah, he likes to
He's
just
all
kind of
about the
sprinkle it
slow
in there.
burn.
Yep.
He is all about the slow burn.
Yep.
You
It
know?
makes sense too. You don't want to, you only have 2.5, 3 hours, 2 hours, whatever, whatever show it is to really provide a lot of stories. But you also, a lot of times it's from one PLE to the next. Sometimes it covers 2, 3 PLEs. So that's 3 months of content that you need to, like you said, slow burn through. You can't just have an amazing match and go, all right, we're never going to see these two people verse off again. Like you said, you got to just build and build and build. And I think the Triple H is good at that. I just think there's a little bit more that can be done now that we get to the end of the year.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we got Saturday night's main event coming, and I think some big things are going to happen there, and we're gonna head that way in a few minutes. And then not to mention we have Survivor Series too, and then we'll have a little bit of a cool down, and then a heat back up again to get to the Royal Rumble, which is in Saudi Arabia this year. So that Royal Rumble is gonna be at 12 noon on a Saturday afternoon. That should be interesting. But getting to the show. Basically, one of the more in my opinion, one of the more featured matches out of this card is because as a result of Seth Rollins' injury, we have no world champion. So that champion, the number one contender, well, CM Punk was already number one contender. They had to create another number one contender to face CM Punk with Jey Uso winning that battle royal last week to earn the spot to face the other number one contender, CM Punk. So that match will be one-on-one for the world title. In my opinion, that's the biggest match on the card. Will probably main event the show since it's a world title match, and it'll be a winner and new declared champion. Could it be CM Punk getting it, or Jey Uso becoming a two-time champion? So we had the two of them facing off in the ring this tonight to begin the show, which I was kind of a little, maybe I shouldn't be surprised that it opened up the show, but I guess since that there wasn't a whole lot of brouhaha between Jey Uso and CM Punk, they figured let's get this segment out of the way, and then we didn't really even see Punk for the rest of the night. Anyhow, it was actually a pretty mixed crowd. I mean, you see Jey Uso and the whole crowd doing the yeet and everything, and then you see CM Punk come out and he rolls his music back, which I thought was pretty funny. But we see CM Punk, and he's getting the big crowd reaction. And then it seems like Jey Uso was getting some mixed boos at some point, which I thought was pretty interesting. I don't know if you caught on to that. Jey Uso's kind of been teetering a little bit of a character change lately.
Yep.
He's been a little bit more of like, how should I say, like angry. He's been on the angry side lately, and he comes out tonight, saying that he has Jey Uso in his ear, Jimmy Uso in his ear. He has Roman Reigns in his ear, and everybody's in his ear. Everybody and their mama in his ear, and he says that Saturday night it's just going to be all him, and that he's going to be the one winning the world title. And then we see Punk come out, and then Punk asks a challenging question. He asks Jey Uso, "How far are you willing to go?" And based on what we saw last week with Jey Uso throwing his brother.
Yep.
Which we'll get to that segment a little bit later on. But and then Jey says, I've been in deep waters before. And then he claims that Punk is, busy painting this picture to the crowd like he's the bad guy. And he tells Punk to just screw himself, which I thought was pretty funny. But so this is a tough one to call Based on the information that you've been given and what you've seen, who do you think's coming out Saturday night's main event winning?
I think this is one where even the writers are 50-50. And I don't know, I personally love watching like former backstage stuff that goes on during the days of PLEs and everything when people find out who's going to win. I honestly think that the writers are 50-50. I think they're going to let this week play out, and they might even let the crowd decide. They might see who's getting a bigger pop. They might see who they want, and just the ref is literally going to have the earpiece in, and the ref can talk to both guys and say, hey, Punk's going over. Or, hey, Uso's going over. I think Triple H really wants Punk to go over, and I think he wants Punk to carry Royal Rumble and WrestleMania, so I could easily see a 6-month hold for CM Punk. I think Uso's main evented enough. He's had a lot of chances. I think it's time to give Punk the belt. I think let's let him ride this into WrestleMania. He, like you said, not a single boot tonight. He had his music played back. He's still great on the mic, still moving good. So I think Punk gets it. I just don't see Jay getting all these chances anymore. And also, if we're going to really talk about that, and LA Knight spoke a little later of what happened, but do they just not trust that guy either? Like, do they not trust LA Knight? Like, what's wrong here? Punk and Uso have gotten 7 chances each. What's going on?
They might be saving LA Knight. I could not tell you. I mean, he's over with the crowd, you know. I wish I had a good answer for you there. I mean, he's clearly over. And which is part of the reason why they've given Jey Uso the chance, because he was over. So why LA Knight really hasn't had that? It could be anything. It could be something backstage. Maybe Triple H doesn't quite see it with LA Knight. I mean, I'm kind of hit or miss with LA Knight myself. He is kind of funny. He's got, the crowd behind him. He can work and stuff like that. But, I'm just like, I'm really on the fence with LA Knight, and that's me personally, but we don't really know. I don't really know why.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, not everybody can have the title at once. And, it's just how it is. Maybe they can, eventually give him an IC title match, IC title, just give him a little bit of a singles run to see how he does. But I wish I had a good answer for you on that one. Yeah, I really don't. There's just been they're trying to go into the so what they're trying to get to is they're trying to get that belt on Braun Breaker. Braun Breaker is going to be the guy. So maybe they can do something next year with LA Knight. It's just I don't think it's in the cards this year.
I think you just kind of hit the nail on the head right there, is at least furthering on why I think CM Punk will take it, is like you said, you want Breaker to have the belt. Breaker versus Uso, great, fine. Literally happens a few times a year already now. I think that Breaker versus Punk is just going to be what kind of old school versus new school, the best in the world at one time versus the future best in the world. So I think that storyline writes itself, and I think that writes it for WrestleMania. So yeah, I think it's Punk's time.
Yeah, for sure. I think the Royal Rumbles this year is going to be between Sami Zayn and Braun Breaker, and then whoever doesn't win out of them two are going to win Elimination Chamber, because I think Sami Zayn's going to get in the main event because WWE has been planting the seed all year long. How Sammy's been talking about how I want to be a world title holder, sporadically. So they've been planting that all year, and now they've been planting seeds of Braun Breaker for a long time now. So it's between them two. They're gonna be the Royal Rumble winner, and then the other guy will somehow win Elimination Chamber and get to Mania. I think that's to me that's what it's looking like. And I think CM Punk does come out the title winner this Saturday night. and so that they can set up a much better matchup, a much more WrestleMania appealing matchup, Braun Breaker versus CM Punk, where Braun Breaker comes out of WrestleMania 42, the title holder. So I think that's where we are headed. Again, I could be wrong, but I don't think I am on this one. If the direction, they're clearly going in that direction. It's really just a matter of when, and I think that when is a lot sooner than we think. So I think that's Mania season.
Yeah, no, I like it. I definitely like the view. I think they'll be able to put on a good match this weekend. Hell, who knows? Maybe somebody comes out of nowhere and we have no champion. Maybe.
Oh my gosh! Don't say that. You never know.
No, I'm thinking way back in COVID time when Roman Reigns came in and messed. It was already a no disqualification, so it didn't matter. But when he came out with, I think it was the Fiend against Braun Strowman. And I remember I think the Fiend won, and all of a sudden Roman Reigns came out of nowhere and just annihilated both of them. But I think that was like during the match almost. So I think that could be another one where we just have like a random comeback of somebody, or Jimmy might attack Jay, or just something where you gotta make something out of nothing sometimes. And that's where, hey, it should be a good match. Both guys have been wrestling freaking 30 years of their life almost now. So they're going to put on a good match, but I think we get some tomfoolery, as the WWE loves tomfoolery.
I mean, I have some theories about this Saturday. I mean, the IWC is predicting Jey Uso to be turning on Jimmy Uso. And then a Jey Uso versus Jimmy Uso world title match. Maybe I don't know.
That needs to happen in a Hell in a Cell, because we already got that just one-on-one singles match, and it was by far the worst rated match of the entire year. So if that happens, it has to be Hell in a Cell or whatever they thought. Didn't they even have it the other time where it was the rules and or the bloodline rules, and they used like a chair and that was it? Like, they got to do Hell in a Cell and make it go crazy. That's the only way to do it. If they go that route,
if they do that,
we already saw them wrestle each other, and nothing really came out of it.
In their defense, like it was not a great match, but it was cold that night in Philadelphia. Like the fans, a lot of us fans were struggling, because like the wind chill was so made the temperature feel so low, because we were right on the water at Lincoln Financial Field. Like we barely survived that first night. The second night wasn't so bad. The conditions were not great. I wish I could,
That was April. Imagine being an Eagles player and playing in January. Freaking 12 degrees outside.
Oh my gosh, I could not.
Crazy.
Because it was pretty bad that night. It was bad. Moving on, we'll get back to some of that stuff a little bit later. We had Rusev versus Penta, which we had a pretty good match between these guys. This match was for the Intercontinental title, #1 contender match. The winner would face Dominic at an upcoming show, but the match got thrown out because El Grande Americano and the other Americanos got involved.
I got their names. It's
Rory,
Rayo and Bravo, something like that.
Yeah.
Yes, Rayo and Bravo. Do you know who they are?
Yeah, Pete Dunne and what's the other guy?
Tyler Bate. Yeah. Which is crazy because Bate's been injured. So it's funny how like everyone's injured and then they come back as some sort of Grande Americano or a part of it.
I'm wondering when Chad Gable's coming back.
I don't know. Did they say that he had like a lasting injury? Did they give a timetable, or was it just kind of
some kind of shoulder? I got to look more into it. I don't know if it was the same injury. I think it was something similar to Seth Rollins. I know Seth is going to be out. They're saying 7 months. Grande, the first Grande Americano, has been out for about 4 or 5 months now. So I would imagine he'll be back, or Chad Gable will be back by Royal Rumble. I would think, maybe a little sooner.
Chad Gable hurt his rotator cuff, expected about 6 months for a rotator cuff. So July gets us to either he comes back, my guess would be the 13th, that Saturday, the other one, the last one. I'd see that, or push him a little bit, give a little teasers, and then an amazing Royal Rumble comeback. But I think if they want to push late 2025, get him on that Saturday, December 13th, and find a way to put
That
him
would be
in.
pretty interesting.
Was
That
it?
would be pretty interesting. So, doing a little research with the rotator cuffs, they take about 6 to 12 months.
Oh wow.
It just depends on how big the tear is.
Mm.
That's all. So
Yeah, he did that in July,
if it was
so.
basic, so then July that gets him to January.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
No, you said if it was a basic one.
yeah. But the same thing with Liv. Liv had something similar with her shoulder, but she should be back very soon. I don't know why. I've had like an obsession with Liv lately. It just I don't know. But
The women's division is
she's great. Like
Yeah.
Liv's been done. Liv has done like everything. Her mannerisms, her in ring work. Like
Yep.
she was hitting. She was hitting. You know.
Yeah.
Let me see here.
No Grande Americano.
Yeah.
I love my notes. I wrote,
So that match got thrown out.
right.
That match got thrown out the window.
But we find out why later. We'll
Yeah,
look to that if you want to later.
a triple threat at
There you
Saturday
go.
night's main event with Dominic, Rusev, and Penta. Which triple threats, when triple threats do happen, that leads me to believe that there's always the potential of the champion losing the match without getting pinned. So if you want to protect Dominic here, and he does lose the title, Rusev has got to pin Penta or Penta pin Rusev. One of those could happen. I don't know. I don't think I see the IC title changing here. I do feel like I see Dominic somehow cheating to win again. And the fans love him.
Ain't that crazy?
It is
I heard
wild.
I heard that chanting
You
when
heard
he
that?
won. I'm like, he cheated against who? Like, I mean, against the face. He cheated against. I mean, Rusev is kind of in the middle too. He needs to
He's in the
figure
middle.
out what he wants to do. But regardless, he was getting plenty of cheers. I'm like, last year you couldn't even hear this guy speak. Now he's getting cheered out the stadium. It's crazy.
Very, very polarizing. Very polarizing. So we're getting that triple threat, and then we had a pretty. I don't want to know if I don't really want to say like a pretty good match with Roxanne and Nikki Bella tonight. But Roxanne, she did her thing. I felt like there's not a whole lot to talk about here, really, except the fact that the end of the match was pretty good. I felt when we finally got to the closing, it was about 10 minutes. This match was about 10 minutes long. We see Nikki run into the turnbuckle tonight. When Roxanne got out of the way, she turns that into the pop rocks on Nikki Bella and gets the win. Then after that, Raquel attacks Nikki, and out comes Stephanie for the save. She saves Nikki. I'm wondering if Nikki Bella turns on Stephanie at some point. I don't know. It's just a thought.
Yeah, I think later down the line, but to get Nikki Bella back, and again, she's only been back for a month or so now. I think what it does is it takes the pressure off of her being in a bunch of singles matches. It takes the pressure off of her having to be in these good 10-minute matches. The same way where some of these older guys that came back to have a little 1-year stint were in tag team matches. Same when Randy Orton was hurt and he came back with Riddle. They did that because they didn't want Randy Orton to have to wrestle singles matches for 15 minutes. Let Riddle take 75% of the bumps, and then Randy Orton come in and kind of get the job done, get hurt here and there. Now I think that's what you do with a returning Nikki Bella who hasn't been in the ring for 5 years plus.
Yeah, the younger athlete out of the younger, if we're doing tag teams, that is the younger tag partner that she would have would, get more of the in-ring time. So, and Stephanie Vaquer, she's been a workhorse.
Yeah.
She has been a workhorse. She's been on the rise. Her popularity skyrocketed in a short amount of time.
I think she
And
has 5 different championship holds between the main belt and then obviously the 2 under belts in like the year that they've been unveiled. She has definitely a few, like they give it to her for a month, take it away, give her a new belt, take it away now, but they definitely do a bunch.
we have a comment here from Sammy Elo 6200. I didn't watch wrestling tonight, and I'm going to go out on a limb and say that it wasn't good. Was I right or wrong? No. I mean, overall, it's a decent show. But there's a lot of good, but then there was some bad sprinkled through, but not a ton. Yeah, it was a decent show. I keep it at that.
We're getting there. I think again,
We've had a string of pretty decent Raws lately.
Yeah. No, I think decent's the good is decent's the best word for it. It wasn't good. I'm not going to sit here and get
it wasn't great,
stars.
But it wasn't bad.
Right. No, like I said, it's all about the build. I think that they're, and again, you lost your star performer. You lost your superstar, excuse me, last week. So now you got to start getting the ball rolling, and now you got to start, the gears start turning, going, what are we going to do now? Oh, well, now we got to turn Bronson and Braun against Seth. Now we got to bring other players in. Now we got to do this, that, the third. So it's tough when you lose your main guy that you're trying to put half an hour worth of your time into. Well, now what are we going to do with that half hour? So I think that they'll figure it out sooner rather than later. But yeah, I think we'll get to good Raws again as we get into the fun months of Royal Rumble and WrestleMania and Elimination Chamber coming up.
We're starting to heat up. We're definitely starting to heat up, and this Saturday night's going to be another good show. So tonight was just a couple last minute builds, and then Friday night will be a last minute build. Sunday night's main event. So yeah, we see Raquel and do a stare down with Stephanie Vaquer, and then Nikki kind of getting in the middle there. So that just begs me to believe that we're going to get Raquel and Roxanne versus Stephanie and Nikki on a future show, possibly next week.
It was confirmed next week at the end of the show.
Another question: why do you think they're not pushing LA Knight to the top? Well, I mean, we actually spoke about it like around 10 minutes ago earlier in the show. I really do not have a great answer for you on this. But I do know Cody's the guy with the WWE Championship, and they also are working to get Braun Breaker a world title. That I know. Yeah. So honestly, they have plans for Braun Breaker. They want to make him the main guy after Roman Reigns and after Cody Rhodes. Braun is your main guy that's going to usher in the next several WrestleManias and main event some of them. So
you want to know what I just realized too? I love the words. One of my favorite artists, singer. He actually has a line of it. But they're all Nepo babies. I didn't realize that. Braun Breaker obviously comes from a styled family.
Yes, yeah. Cody,
obviously Cody Rhodes, son of a star. And then who am I missing in that?
And not to mention there's Roman Reigns too.
Oh, I'm sorry, the Usos, obviously, freaking the whole family.
Yeah.
So the only LA Knight is the only homegrown. Was in Tough Enough in 2012. He's been doing this, that, third. He was in a P90X version of WWE. He's been doing stuff for years, trying to get his name out there.
Yeah.
He did it homegrown by himself. And now they're picking all the nepotism. And CM Punk, who again was in the WWE, and now we're having our nostalgia time bringing him back from 2010. So it's either nepotism or guys that have been doing it for a while. So I'm a little upset that they're not giving it to LA Knight, but I think his time will come because, as he said, he had a really nice little 1-minute promo as well where he cut and said, I'm going to have to make myself undeniable, and I can't remember exactly what he wrote, and I love the line that he said. Let me see if I can pull it up. I am what is. I'm like, what does that even mean? But yes, like he's trying to make himself undeniable. So everybody else go fight, do whatever. I'm going to keep winning my matches against whoever you put me up against. And I'll show up whenever I need to show up to get that belt. But I guess they're just, as you used before, slow burn. They're just going to let LA Knight slow burn and just hopefully he can stay on top for a little.
I mean, listen, just between now and Mania, like we said before, I don't think there's really time to give LA Knight a title, and then
Right.
I really think Mania is going to be the platform for Braun to win, and then maybe later in his first run as champion, then you can feed Braun Breaker to LA Knight, and LA Knight get the win, and have his first title like next year. He could still go. I think you have a little time where you can put a title on him, but he's no spring chicken either. So they're gonna want to do something with him, and not to mention, CM Punk. If you really think about it, he doesn't really have too many years left, and that's my opinion. He is 47 years old, something like that, and you want to get him that title run in now while you can. And kind of just get that out of the way. And then once you do that, once you get the title on Braun Breaker, now you have a little bit more room to continue to build up LA Knight and then, put him into a main event scene.
Right. I can only hope.
I think that's what you do.
I am what is.
I caught that. I was like, I'm glad you said that because I'm like, I'm not writing this down right now.
Nope.
Jimmy Uso backstage gives Jay an earful for Jay throwing him out and thinking about, and for saying that Jay was thinking about himself last week and not sticking to the plan, that it could have been Jim and Jay being the last ones in the ring, and then they figure out who's going to win from there. And also that Jimmy was also, accusing Jay of, possibly being scared, maybe too scared to find out who truly would deserve to win if it came down to Jay and Jimmy, that battle royal, and was questioning if he was even confident, and which is why, Jimmy says, you just threw me out, you didn't stick to the plan. Were you not scared? Were you not confident that you'd win between the two of us? You didn't stick to the plan and stuff. And so more rising tensions there. And, a little later on the show, or later in that segment, rather, cooler heads prevailed. But I think, again, this is more C's that, in my opinion, could be leading up to another split between the Usos. But this time, Jey Uso going heel and Jimmy staying face.
Yeah, no, I see. I definitely saw that. And what had kind of got me the other way, at least, but obviously you could say one thing, mean the other, is Jay was the one at the end there that apologized and, hey man, sorry for what I said. No, are we cool and everything? And then dapped up. But like I said, that could just be saving face for a later date to turn. Jimmy might try to help and screw it up instead. Jay could call him the screw up of us. I'm the one in the main event. You're the guy that's always been second best. And then Jimmy tries to say, look, I'm just trying to help. And then Jay says, I don't want your help, and attacks him. So I could see where Jay is the one that turns, but Jimmy has to do something to make Jay turn. There's no reason for Jay to turn right now. That's at least the one thing. Like, there needs to be a reason for everything. And I know WWE is very good at creating reasons and putting that in the storyline. So like I said, I think Jimmy tries to help, screws Jay somehow, and then Jay turns.
Yeah, or maybe not on the spot, but yeah, I can definitely see it. And who knows? Knowing that the way the Saturday night's main events have been booked lately, Triple H hasn't really booked a whole lot of, let's just say, buzzworthy stuff on these shows.
Yeah.
I mean, you had the one show when Kevin Owens turned on Cody or something to that effect, and beat the crap out of him,
Right.
and pile drived him after the camera went off the air, and that led to a whole nother feud. Then we had the U.S. title, first time ever for the women, and this again, there hasn't been a whole lot of happenings, so to speak, on Saturday night's main events, and so I'm not too confident that they'll pull a nice trigger here, but never say never.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll have to see there. But I mean, I could definitely see some more dissension at the very minimum
Yep.
coming out of this week, or it may even go the other way. Maybe Jey Uso wins and Jimmy costs Punk the match, helps out Jay because they're cool now, and this could go in like a lot of different directions. But I mean, I'm still kind of a little bit more on Punk's side on this, where I think he's probably going to pull out the win here just because Royal Rumble WrestleMania season's upon us. So then we had LA Knight. Speaking of LA Knight, we had LA Knight versus Braun Breaker tonight, and we heard earlier in the night that the Vision was talking backstage in the segment between Bronson Reed, Braun Breaker, and Paul Heyman that they need to remove the person that shares the same vision as Braun Breaker so they can have a clearer path to the world title. Obviously, as they're planting seeds, LA Knight. They're referring to LA Knight obviously having the same vision, and they needed to remove him to get him out of the way. So we have the match with Braun Breaker and LA Knight, and there was a couple cool spots in this match. Great spots in this match. LA Knight, he can run the ropes. I'm sorry, Braun Breaker, he can run the ropes like I'd never seen before.
Yeah, that guy can move. No question. I mean, they always say the 23 miles per hour, but the fact that, I mean, you already know that guy played football as a kid. He played a couple of sports, no question. And yeah, he just looks very, just for a young guy, looks very comfortable in the ring. Which again, I mean, his dad and uncle were both in the ring for years, so he probably stepped in that ring when he was 2 years old to start. But he definitely looks very comfortable.
Oh, absolutely. Bronson, we see. Yeah, so I get Bronson like twist tied, like tongue tied all the time when I mention them two in the same sentence. It's crazy. But Bronson Reed gets onto the ring apron, we see, and Braun. So that's a distraction. Then Braun charges LA in the corner. LA gets out of the way. Braun hits the turnbuckle. Then we see LA Knight take out Bronson Reed there. So now we're at the point where we're getting towards the end of the match. We see Braun Breaker attempt to gorilla press LA Knight, but then LA Knight turns that into a DDT, which I thought was a pretty cool spot. And then we see LA Knight on the second rope, or it was on the third rope, but it's at least the second rope. Bronson Reed is down. I'm sorry, Braun Breaker's down. He does a kick up. LA Knight jumps over Braun Breaker because Braun Breaker dips out of the way.
Right.
So LA Knight jumps over Braun Breaker. LA Knight now has his back turned to Braun Breaker, and then Braun Breaker delivers the spear for the 1, 2, 3, which I thought was an excellent spot between those guys. They did mess up one botch spot towards the turnbuckle, and the camera quickly cut away where Braun Breaker had fallen on the ring mat, and so that was one little botch spot there. But other than that, like everything was pretty good. We had a really good finish here, and Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed kind of left LA Knight alone. I thought maybe that they would probably further attack him, but they left him alone. Braun Breaker gets the win there. Then we get the backstage segment with Adam Cole, getting back to before, telling Dom that Penta and Rusev are going to fight Dom in the triple threat. So we're going to get that. So that was a separate backstage segment following the LA Knight Braun Breaker match. Then we had we had a pretty fun match with JD McDonough versus Sheamus, and JD McDonough got the big rub here. Sheamus delivered the high cross onto JD. Finn at some point saves JD, and Sheamus takes out Finn Balor, but only temporary. And then we see Finn attack Sheamus with the shillelagh, and then Finn Balor hits. JD McDonough hits Sheamus with the Spanish Fly, which I thought was an awesome spot for the win. Yep. And what did you think of this match?
I always say that there's matches that just do exactly what they're supposed to do, and that was really about it. Sheamus doesn't really have a friend in WWE, so you know it's going to be a 2-on-1 the whole time. He brought his own shillelagh out, which you know is going to be used eventually by somebody, and Finn Balor was smart and took it. My biggest thing is WWE loves their shenanigan matches. They don't like clean matches. There's always something that has to happen, which is fine. I get it, but sometimes I just want to watch a nice 10-minute match where a guy gets pinned 1, 2, 3. So I'll take it. It's fine. It's just, it's going to happen. And it's starting to get a little bit annoying when every other match, when it's 2v1, they get involved. It's like, come on, give me a little surprise here.
Yeah. No, for sure.
Like they got the job done. Now it's going to be, can Sheamus find a friend if they want to take on, can Sheamus become another random tag team and start taking on the Judgment Day a little bit? He's obviously getting bigger, older, and might need that extra presence as well. So maybe he calls in a favor, but
maybe Sheamus gets Rusev.
I was thinking that. That was where I was
history together.
Absolutely. They have a past. They work together. We already heard Wade Barrett actually brought it up today about why he doesn't wrestle anymore, because he used to know how Rusev used to hit being on his team and then going up against him. So I definitely think there is a way where after this whole triple threat, get that out, I do think it would be smart to put Rusev and Sheamus back together, because Rusev really hasn't done much. He hasn't connected with the crowd. Sheamus has connected with the crowd his entire career. So now I think it's time to make some type of connection and really give both of them their opportunity to show why they belong in WWE still.
Yeah, absolutely. The following segment, we get the announcement of Finn Balor and JD McDonough getting their tag title match. So that is going to be next week. Adam Pearce did not like the fact that there was cheating involved in that match between Finn Balor and JD McDonough and Sheamus. So that being said, AJ and Dragon Lee still insisted on granting JD and Finn Balor tag team title match for next week.
And I mean, in general, it's supposed to be either an immediate rematch or like you're allowed to cash in your rematch clause whenever as former champions. At least that's how it's always been. So I don't want to say I'm surprised that they needed to, jump through these hoops to make it happen, but that's WWE for you. Sometimes there's a little bit of inconsistency. So, they're supposed to get their rematch clause. I don't know what are we playing games here for?
We are going to jump immediately to the final match tonight, and then we'll talk that night's main event really quick. But those of you guys that are watching, or when you guys do watch, it is late. It's 11:45, just a little after 11:45 Eastern time on the East Coast here in New York. But with that being said, guys, feel free, please give us a like, share, and feel free to drop in comments anytime. We want to hear what you guys thought of Monday Night Raw, or think of whatever conversation we're talking about at the time. So feel free to jump in on a conversation, and we'll be sure to post your comments and address them. With that being said, tonight we had the women's tag team title match. Kind of an impromptu earlier in the night. Bayley and Lyra challenging Charlotte and Alexa Bliss. And we had a banger of a women's tag title match. in my opinion, probably the best women's tag team title match we've seen in a pretty long time. I would say for this year, at least. What did you think of the match tonight?
When you have three women that have been wrestling against each other for the better half of 10 years, if not more, or not even the better half, the full 10 years they've been versing each other, they're going to put on a style match. They did very well. I also think that Lyra, being not thrown into that mix, but new, she showed out again. She showed why she belongs in title picture opportunities, why she deserves to be with these women that have been here for a decade. I think it was just, again, exactly what you needed. Just a nice tag match, quick, flowing. Everyone's landing their own shots and strikes and special moves and everything. So I really think that we're starting to see not a growth in the women's division, but we're starting to see that a lot of these women can wrestle and they can put on great fights. And I think the tag team division is starting to get there too. We're starting to really, put together now. Obviously, we'll talk more about the Kabuki Warriors coming in and everything. But I think that the tag division could kind of grow a little bit as time goes.
Yeah, and not to mention, even if it doesn't grow too much on Raw, you have options on SmackDown and NXT too. So, and that's what's been happening. Charlotte and Alexa Bliss has been floating around, which I think helps. For just by getting like the tag team, the tag title defenses and stuff like that.
And what a weird combination we have. The not friends.
Yeah, I know.
But it's I don't want to say it's perfect, but again, they've literally came up together in NXT and in SmackDown when they were first brought up. They know each other very well, so obviously they're putting on a show that they're not friends, but it's just great to see that two women that have been in the industry for years are still performing very well and still have belts around their waist.
Absolutely. Alexa almost pins Lyra tonight. This is getting towards like three quarters of the match through after putting the Twisted Bliss on there. This is where the match started really heating up. We see Lyra hit the Nightwing on Bliss, and I thought that was going to end it right there. New tag team champs. Then Charlotte saved the match. But then there was another moment where Charlotte had the figure eight on Bayley, and then Lyra caught Bayley's arm from tapping out, and then you see Alexa Bliss do the Twisted Bliss, and then that broke out that whole thing. So that was crazy right there. And then let me see. And then the cool spot was at the end of the match. We see Charlotte and Alexa Bliss win with the natural selection, the double DDT, which I thought was a good ending there too. So it remains to be seen what the fallout is going to be between Bayley and Lyra going into next week. But then we see at the end of the show the Kabuki Warriors coming out and attacking everybody, and pretty much making it known to Charlotte and Alexa that they're next. That Alexa and Charlotte is on the radar. But not to mention, you got Io Sky, in the wings. Mm-hmm. You got Bayley and Lyra. They also got attacked at the end for a quick second, and they may put a stop to this match between Kabuki Warriors and Charlotte Alexa Bliss. So anything can happen there.
Yep.
But that's where they're headed to. That's where they're headed to. I think they did announce. Did they announce anything with Alexa Bliss and Charlotte officially?
I didn't see anything at the end. I think we'll most likely
see
a triple threat. I think Friday night we'll get another triple threat for the belts, and I think we'll get that added Friday night for Saturday night's main event.
Yeah,
that's my guess. There's only like 3 matches set right now. Technically 4 now that they added the Intercontinental triple threat. We have both men's championships. Then we have the women's championship. I don't think either the Intercontinental or US. I don't think any of those really yet. Yeah. So there's a chance that that gets added on Friday night after they all start fighting each other, and then we see, either Adam Pearce and Nick what's the last name? Sorry.
Aldis.
Nick Aldis, thank you. We either see one or both of them come out, and you know how they both like they're enough. So they'll come out and say, "You guys want this to end? We end it tomorrow. It's Saturday night's main event." So maybe we see that Friday night, but I don't know. I don't know the other fights that are on the card yet.
Yeah. I mean, if I'm WWE, I would try to keep Saturday night's main event 4 matches. Because based on like the first 1 or 2, like especially dating back to the first one last year, you had 5 matches squeezed into 2 hours. It was like you didn't have enough time. They basically ran out of time. They ran out of time. And I felt like some of the matches were a little rushed too.
Yeah.
As well. So I think you got to keep it at 4 matches, and then they'll probably revisit. Well, they're definitely going to head towards that Charlotte and Leicester versus the Kabuki Warriors. It could get added. I wouldn't be shocked, but if I were them, I'd rather see it on a Raw in maybe 2 weeks or so.
Yeah.
And just kind of let some of the matches on Saturday night breathe and let the fans, take it in a little bit, maybe throw in a in between segment to let some of the matches breathe, because that wasn't really the case last year. It just went from match to match to match, nonstop at Nassau Coliseum last year. And, it was great and everything, but you could tell some of the matches were rushed.
That's the annoying thing when you have to fit it into a 2-hour show versus, I mean, now it's weird because obviously now with Netflix, you're getting these 2.5, 220, and then obviously SmackDown was at 3, moved it to 3, 2. So it's strange when they have these PLEs that can go whatever amount of time. Then you're on TV, so you have to stay in TV regulations. You're on Netflix, you don't worry about the timing. It's all pretty crazy, but they're making it work. So I think you're right. That's the only thing that sucks for the fans too, is you're spending good amount of money and you're only getting to see 4 matches. Now, yes, we only see 4 matches. I will tell you there's normally about 2 or 3 dark matches, the name of them.
Beforehand.
Exactly. So people are at least seeing a few of these dark matches where they're, getting their money's worth. But even then, it's tough when you only get 4 matches in a 2-hour show. It's not, you don't get the worth and value. Now, this weekend, luckily, they're all championship matches, so we at least get that value out of it. But yeah, it's tough. It's if they could theoretically put 5 15-minute matches on, and then obviously the advertising in between, you'd be able to get it. But they need the talk and the drama and the introductions and everybody coming out with 82,000 fireworks. So
this Saturday night's main event, we have Cody defending against Drew McIntyre, which I believe Cody will retain from there. We got Dominic Mysterio defending against Penta and Rusev. This is kind of what they've been building to all along for the past 2 months now. So we're finally getting that match. It's going to be interesting to see what they do there. Could end up Dominic somehow cheating. One of the Americanos getting involved, so we could see something like that. I don't think we get help from the Judgment Day. The Judgment Day really hasn't been behind Dominic during his matches lately. So it seems like Dominic turns towards El Grande Americano more than a Judgment Day. But anyway, or we could see, Rusev pinning Penta, or Penta pinning Rusev too. This way, if Dominic were to lose, he loses cleanly without getting pinned. So triple threats are usually one of WWE's favorite ways of moving a title around. So we got that match. We got Tiffany Stratton defending against Jade Cargill. Jade Cargill turned heel last Friday night. She is now a heel. She turned on Tiffany. So that begs me to believe that we could have a new WWE Women's Champion this Friday night. We're going to get a new World Champion, but I think we might be getting a new women's champion this Friday night. I have that feeling. They've been planting the seeds for a while. Jade Cargill already had one match with Tiffany Stratton, in which Tiffany Stratton won, but now this is a new dynamic. So this is going to be more of Jade Cargill going to go through all lengths within her heel character, going to go all out and try to do whatever she can to finally beat Tiffany. Jade has somewhat improved in the ring. I still don't. I still think she's green. I don't think she's great, but she's definitely improved. And WWE is very invested in Jade Cargill, and they want to do everything they can to see her succeed. So making her heel was definitely a good way to go.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like Jade is a good natural heel. We've seen her heel work in AEW. And I have a feeling Jade Cargill is going to win the title because Tiffany Stratton has almost had this belt for about 11 months now. So it's been a pretty lengthy run. It's been a good run for Tiffany. But I have a feeling, and I could be wrong, but I don't think so. I think Jade's winning it here. And then last but not least, we have the world title match we talked about earlier, which could go either way. There's plenty of options. I feel like CM Punk might have the edge here. He's the bigger name to carry the belt into WrestleMania season, and then that gets you more of a marquee matchup for whoever Punk's opponent's going to be with Braun Breaker, possibly. So
absolutely, I like all the reads there, Wayne. I think you're right on the hit the nail right in the head with a lot of them. I do think that I think keeping two belts Dom is smart. But like you said, that triple threat allows for a few different angles to come out of it. That is pretty. I did miss Friday, so I'm gonna have to rewatch that and see the turn from Jade. So that is very cool. And then I think Drew will get there in time. It's been almost 5 years since his championship run. So I think they'll give it to him soon, but I don't think this Saturday is the right time. So I think you hit the nail on the head of all of them, man. Great read.
Yeah, I think Cody's going to hold on to this thing for a little while. I think he's going to hold his title to and possibly through WrestleMania. Yeah. So we'll see what happens. But you're planting the seeds now with Drew McIntyre, and then you can always kind of have him and Cody kind of going in and out feuds and then build something, long term for something later. So
Drew
we'll have
still hates Sammy. We know this. So, we'll see Drew and Sammy a couple more times.
I'm sure.
But that sets up who wants to. Yeah, that really does set up who wants to win the Royal Rumble this year. You still have Gunther, who could obviously come back soon. He could really just step in and be like, "No, I want to take on CM Punk." I think Gunther versus CM Punk, there'd be no problem. So he could step back into the Royal Rumble. Sammy's coming forward. If either guy that loses the belt could come with it. So you have Drew could win it again after he hasn't won in a few years. So there's definitely a few guys that are gonna, as long as the crowd is with them and as long as they're doing a couple of nice promos, could definitely be another question mark. A lot of question marks going into Royal Rumble season.
Absolutely. Imagine they go because I really could not tell you who's Cody Rhodes' opponent's going to be. For all we know, maybe they're planning Cody versus Braun Breaker, and we're just not seeing it yet.
Yeah. There isn't a draft or anything. Usually the draft is around the October time, and I don't think they had anything planned, right? I haven't seen it.
Nope. I heard rumors of it months ago that it should have happened at the meeting, and it didn't. But the thing is, with the Royal Rumble, you don't need a draft for the champion. The Royal Rumble winner decide what title holder he wants, and that's the way to get him onto the other show to go after that belt. But the other thing I was thinking, what if they did Cody versus Sammy?
Yeah,
a classic face versus face.
They could do it. That could happen.
Fantastic. But is
a lot to happen these next few months.
I know. It's gonna be great. That's all I got on my take. There's Saturday night. There's a lot of questions to be answered this Saturday night. We're gonna get those questions answered. I think that's gonna be a good show for sure, and we're going to be back on the air to cover that. I'm not sure what time yet, but we're definitely going to cover that, as I believe Saturday night's main event starts at 7, which should be over by 9, which I think I'd probably be going live around 10. But do you have any last second comments before we go off the air?
Exactly 27 years ago to the time I was born. It is now my birthday. I was born 1204 on October 28th.
So. Happy birthday.
Thank you, sir.
Happy birthday.
I was waiting to see if we'd make it the hour, so I am glad, but yes. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us on your birthday.
Appreciate it, man. No, I definitely glad to talk about this, and now I'm going to be able to go to bed right after, wake up, and it's my birthday. So, of course, I have to work all day tomorrow. So, now definitely celebrate after, and then this weekend's Halloween. So, go out, see if I can find a costume party and turn it into a birthday party for myself.
Nice. It's gonna be a good week. It's gonna be a good week.
Yeah. And then November starts the Saturday. Yeah, Saturday November 1st is main event. So
that's wild that November 1st is this Saturday.
Yeah. I love starting the month on like a weekend. It's always cool.
Yeah, the year has flown by fast.
To say the least. Yeah, I had blah blah blah. We only have 2 more months left of the year. It's crazy. But that's 2 more months of wrestling and plenty left. So
yeah, cannot wait.
Absolutely.
For those of you guys that are watching, we are looking to be back Saturday night's main event and next week on Raw. Hopefully we can squeeze in an AEW show. We'll announce that as time goes on. We haven't covered AEW a long time. It's all been WWE. But for those of you guys that are watching, just make sure you guys are liked, subscribed, and share this with your friends. And we will be back with you guys very soon this weekend, more than likely Saturday night. In the meantime, you guys have yourself a good night.
Agility from the champion. Oh, deep 6. That could be it. Delivers this deep 6.
Gotta figure out how to end this. It's been a while. Where's my end button?
Where's the
agility from the champion? Deep 6. That could be it. Delivers